Lotshani. Paul Kulcha umalimela bomtshana ehlelweni lwedili emnandi hle. Football Friday. La ngikhamba khona nomfowethu la Siphiwe Louis Mr. Ball Time Man. Sicale ezemidlalo. Mfo. Unami.
Mfosithokoze man mfo sonke. Thank you so much. Ngiyalochisa nami mfo. Khuluma ngoSiphiwe Louis the Ball Time Man. Thank you for having me mfo.
Ngiyathokoza kungolosihlanu sicale ezemidlalo. Every Monday na Friday sicale ezemidlalo. Namhlanje ukuthi sisavumela wonke umuntu nje ufela joining in wamukelekile ukuthi mhlawumbe aphose lakhe lokubothana. Sikhuluma nje ngezemidlalo sicale nje khulukhulu ibhola eragwa ngomfo. Lochisa ama-viewers wethu.
Nomfa ngiyathokoza mfo. Yeah, thank you for everyone who's joiner. Esihlelweni lethu elimnandi khulu asicoce khona ngebholo. Yeah, so send through your comments, your questions. Ke sibone ukuthi sicoca kanjani ngendaba ezibudisi kangaka zebholo nezimnandi.
Hey, angazi ngithume kuphi yazi angazi ngithume kuphi mara ngithume kuphi. Hey. Indaba ezinenkulu mfo kwenzakani ebholweni eSouth Africa ku transfer market khona mhlambe imsikinyeko ekarisa kwenzekele emalangeni.
Yeah, ngicabanga ukuthi inchema ziyatlikitha kodwa ivekele ibe a little bit quieter than last week because into ezikhona nje I think it's just talks and rumors. Very little has been conclusive. But yeah, there's really big stuff. I mean, I think the biggest news Jackson, I think, is the revelation yaga Lionel Messi. He's now decided to part ways with Barcelona. He's a free agent. In Manchester City, in PSG, they are gunning for his signature. So it's going to be interesting to so that's the one that we have to look at. How does it work out eventually? And then also again, we wake up to the news because we had rumors, I think, from Monday, Tuesday. Peter Musimane might want to be signing Pesitao from Brighton. So from my side. But it seems like Peter confirmed on an Egyptian radio station yesterday to say that agreements have been reached between Al Ahly and Brighton to Pesitao as Al Ahly, and then the transfer fee there, he seems to be valued at 4 million euros, which is about 68 million rands in South African terms. So I think, I don't know, agreements have been reached, so it means we'll see what happens if the deal proceeds. But I think it's a controversial deal, that one. I'm not sure. I don't think South Africans will be happy with that deal, given the fact that Pesitao is the only sort of pronoun English player that comes from South Africa. And also is a player that has got a huge following, from South Africa, and also probably the most reliable striker for the national team. Recently, we've seen last week he scored his first goal for Brighton, even if it was a pre-season. But we know the competition is very high in Europe, and actually pre-seasons is a chance for abadlali abaningi ukuthi bazibonakalise kumbanduli. So uzibonakalisile kumbanduli, the fans are crazy about him. So I'm also not sure how this will sit with the fans with Brighton, because they really love him. If you look at the songs, very exciting moments. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Last season, I had a lot. January only had a half a season to try approach, of which he played 2 matches. He played his first match against Manchester City, and then he played against in the FA against Leicester City, of which I think actually played 3 matches. The last match is when he made an assist to score for the striker there, for the main actually for what's his name? There's a striker from Arsenal. Yeah, I think he made an assist, a beautiful assist there. So he had three games last season. So now umbanduli uGrempota akakavumi ukuthi Pestawu aye kuma-Olympics because he wants to use him as a main striker. He's on his plans for this coming season. So all of a sudden now, a week later after he scores his first goal for the club, Jesse says Peter Musimane might be agreeing, try to bring him to Al Ahly.
Okubuhlungu yini lapho ngoba nakaya ku-Al Ahly vele siyabona ukuthi uyokuthola i-game time nemali futhi phezulu. So yini okubuhlungu lapho ngoba lapha akatholi i-game time kanti yini okubuhlungu?
Yeah, I think most of us, I think we understand ukuthi I think is the way between the two, the weight between the two leagues, you know. But the English league is the best league in the world, and the Egyptian league is not so competitive compared to the English league, you know. Because in Egypt, you can count probably 3 teams that are top, that are almost expected to win the league between the 3 of them, you know. Zamalek, Pyramid, as well as Al Ahly, yeah. So you can count about 3 teams that are actually strong. So the league itself is not competitive. So that's the challenge. And English league being the best league in the world, it's tough for any player to break in. I mean, if we take, for example, a player like Mo Salah, 3 seasons, Chelsea only played 1 game, battled to hit starting lineup, even battled to hit form. And then Chelsea sold him to Roma in Italy. And then that's where he started to improve. And then Liverpool brought him back to the EPL. And now look at what he's able to achieve. So you can count at least 5 years that he's tried to, you know, his luck in the big leagues. And then only the 5th year he's shown now what he can do. So I think Pesitao, he's got 2 years with Brighton, but he's been loaned out, you know, different clubs, because it's very difficult to break into the English league. You understand? Even if you are a great player. So many players, I mean, have battled to do well. Even Paul Pogba, since he left Juventus, you know, he's been a shining star in Italy. He battles to make his mark in England. It shows that this is the biggest league in the world. So it's expected to go to Pestau cannot just walk into the Brighton squad. So it's expected for him to struggle more. He spent 2 seasons without scoring a single goal. Now he's starting to show. In his 3rd season, then he started to show that he can. He's actually a good striker from Brighton. So I think in the the player has been patient to try improve his game. Gutangene was starting lineup say Brighton. Now it looks like it's the time for him to get that starting lineup, and then maybe most people will feel Guti that opportunity has been taken away from him, you know, because
and I get it somebody TV.
Even that I think contributes, because obviously we know the English league is big on media. Yeah, even that. So we won't see how well he does or what challenges he faces. But I think the biggest thing is that he's got the biggest following, and a lot of people want to see him doing well against the best clubs in the world. Because okay, Pito, why him? You know, why don't you get another player from South Africa and grow him and take him to Al Ahly and leave this one alone, and help South Africa to have more players playing in Europe, you know? But Pito umbanduli lapha une mandate, so he's trying to sort out himself, you know? He's trying to strengthen his team for himself. So yeah, that's where I think it's a controversial deal. It's not an easy one.
We also want the best players in Africa. And why Tina sikhiphe ngoba nathi siyabafuna ukuthi babeduze nathi like Africa. Why not sijabule kan if the best players visit Africa bazokudlala?
Yeah, I think maybe if we had an import, maybe coming from anywhere else, like abadlali abakhona, for example, Serginho from Sundowns, player coming from South America. Yeah, I think those are great things. I mean, they improve African football. But I think it has been proven over and over, Guti, in Chaba as strong, in Kwat as strong nationally. They have their players playing their trade in Europe, and most probably in the biggest leagues in Europe. So that's why the hunger for South African players to play in Europe. And you can see even Bafana Bafana has never been doing well since 1996. And the biggest difference is the ratio between Abadali and Badala in Europe then and the players that are playing in Europe now. And you can see how the national team is battling to perform. I mean, we're even struggling to qualify for continental football. And if you look at the opponents, I mean, Senegal, you know, they've got strong players playing in Europe. Egypt, Algeria, you can see how great Riyad Mahrez is doing for Man City and the impact he's able to do when he's with his nation. So I think that's where the challenge is. I think it's proven that for a national team to grow, more players need to play in Europe. So maybe that's also the other thing that has been considered.
begothi kuyavela ukuthi kwanga uPhista lo akakujabuleli ukuya mhlambe ku-Al Ahly.
That's why I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I'm saying this one. I'm not sure. I know that the agreement has been reached between the two clubs, but remember that even if the clubs have agreed, they still need to meet personal terms of the player. So, which means the agent needs to agree as well, which means the agent represents the player. Yeah, so if Pesta is not happy to move, I mean, the agent can express those types of feelings, and that could hinder the deal, regardless of the two parties having reached agreements. You understand? So, yeah, and it's something that we don't want to see. I mean, if Pesta was moving to Al Ahly, the least thing we want to see is him being unhappy to move. You understand? So at least if we're excited, they have an agreement with Pito, and he's happy to join Al Ahly. That's great if Bazwani, but if Guti Abazwani, that's going to be a problem because you ask yourself how will he fare with the Egyptian club, and you know how hostile the Egyptian fans are. You know, so if Pesitao speaks like that before he goes there, the fans might also say, oh, well, he doesn't want to come, so why bring him? So it's not an easy deal, this one. Now I think they've gone through the biggest hurdle, which is to agree on on terms between the two teams. But now mainly feel about personal terms. And a lot of things have been considered. Like I say, especially in England, like my fans, they have a bigger say. And I think fans will start saying, I think today, Pesitao is already trending on Twitter, you know. So, and if you look at the side of the English fans, they're expressing their disapproval, you know. Good, this is our player, why release him? And we don't have and we know the Brighton hasn't been firing a lot of goals. They've been scoring fast goals in most of the games last season, but most of those games they've ended up losing them. So they need a firepower. They need that second goal. They're fighting for that second goal. So they need to strengthen the forward. So here's a forward who's had a brilliant preseason. Now why let him go? When I read some of the timelines of the English fans, when I look at because he's trending right now. Him and Lionel Messi, they're trending right now on Twitter. So, like I say, we have to watch the space and see how but I think it's an interesting one. I myself, I wasn't thinking it could be this real. Yeah, but it's happening, yeah.
Le kalolo Messi ngicabanga ukuthi ngeli komunye unyaka kuzokwenzeka, but not so fast. Messi leaving Barcelona ngeke isafana.
Absolutely, but I think it's time for Barcelona. I think they need to change. We know that they've just signed Mampes Depay from Holland, the striker from Holland, and they strike Aguero as well. So, so now they're making big changes, and these two players are joining the striker from France, Antoine Griezmann. So I think they're making really great signings. They want to come back to be one of the firepowers of La Liga. And remember, they finished the league third behind Real Madrid, 9 points away from Atletico. So they want to bridge that gap. Lionel Messi was a big player there, but I think the signing fee, actually, I think the income is way too high. Because Lionel Messi, remember, even if he's a free agent, whichever club is going to take him up is not such a free agent. He's going to be bought between him and his manager. You understand? Then his salary, his personal terms still have to be met. So it's still going to be a big signing for whoever is going to sign him. So, so I think
which team can afford Lionel Messi?
I think. Look, I think between PSG and Manchester City, it's going to be between those two clubs because the money is there between the two. I don't know if you've seen that Manchester City were offering 100 million euros for Jack Grealish, and I think those are other news that were trending Monday and Tuesday, because Jack Grealish is not such a star. It's not like a most popular player in the world, but it's almost like a most prominent player, fast-growing player in England, you know. But 100 million rands, I think the issue does it deserve that kind of money? I mean, Fernandes from Manchester was bought by 55 million euros, and he's produced a better outcome to better output to Jack Grealish. And here is Manchester City. They want to buy Jack Grealish for 100 million rand. So you ask yourself, is it that Pogba deal? You know, is he going to live up to the standard? So if Man City can pay 100 million rands for Jack Grealish, how much, you ask yourself, can they really not pay for Messi? You know, you understand? Maybe they can even go 200 or 150 for Messi. Why not? I mean, because Messi is such a well-decorated player. So yeah, I think when you look at the PSG, they've already made big signings. Gini Wijnaldum is already there. I think they've signed a number of big players, and they spent already in the market. So are they willing to go to stretch the ballot for Messi? Can they? Yes, they can. Are they willing? Not sure, because they've already signed, covered a lot of their positions, you know. So yeah, that's unless Neymar is being sent elsewhere, I'm thinking. So more of Man City than PSG. But then again, remember, Man City, they are also looking at that Hurricane deal, because Hurricane hasn't attended training this week. Sukela Ngomvulo has missed his trainings with the club, and the club has called him for disciplinary hearing on Wednesday. He also didn't go. So, so Hurricane probably wants to go away. Not sure whether he wants to go to Man City or Man United, because both clubs are bidding for him. But Man City is the one that's on the front foot, because there are rumors Raheem Sterling is not happy, so it might be a swap deal. So that's also something to look at when they sign Messi. Whether they can sign Messi or not, they have to look at that. But for me personally, if they can sign Messi and Hurricane, they'll win the UEFA Champions League next season. For me, I think if they can break that.
Yeah, usakhuluma ngoJack Grealish le iconfirmile iManchester City ukuthi sekamdlali wabo.
There you go. So if they paid for Jack Grealish 100 million, do we think they cannot pay for Messi 150 or even 200? And I'm also interested to know, how much would they like to sign for Hurricane? I haven't seen the latest offer, but last time I checked, it was about 80-90 million euros. I'm not sure what's the last offer. So
Yeah. Yabona la upesita usatrenda la phezulu la, yeah, you know. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. So those signings I think are the ones that are on talks. But yeah, coming back to South Africa, Sundowns is looking at loaning Hlompho Kekana and Tebogo Langerman. They want to send them to the old age school of the DSTV Premiership. Do you know which that one is? Do you know which one is Yeah. So Sundowns, remember they played a friendly game with Polokwane City on Saturday. They won that game 3-0. First goal was an own goal. Back pass, goalkeeper miskick it, went straight into the goal. Second goal was Zwane, and then Farmer scored the third goal. So they've signed Ngobeni. They want to sign, I think it's Mohammed. Katlago Mohammed, they want to sign, yes. So remember when they signed Ulona, when they signed Siphiwe Louis from Celtics, the agreement was that they would loan him back to Celtics for a season. So because already on that position, there is 4 players now on that left back position. There is Langerman, there is Lakey, there is Modiba, and now there's Ngobeni. And we know with Langerman he hasn't even appeared even more than 5 times the whole season, and he's been the most reliable left back for all these years for Sundowns. So obviously he's not happy. He's a big player. Age is ticking. He wants to play. So I heard from a reliable source, which is Langerman and Hlompho, they're going to be loaned to Swallows. Actually, the way I heard it is that the agreement has been reached between the two clubs.
Yeah, ngathi kunomdlali kodwa Mokhalwa naye ngathi bamlonile kuSwallows.
Yes, that's a done deal as well. That's a done deal as well. Yes. So I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure why the deal between Mahalwa and Kekana and Langerman, I'm not sure why that deal wasn't done once. I'm not sure why it didn't move all at the same time. So, but the negotiations are always going on, obviously, because there's issues, there's player managers as well that, have a say, and perhaps, though that they delayed based on that. But I think Yagamahalwa is done deal. This one, it might be pronounced anytime soon. But I heard from a reliable source that deal is 90% done. If there can be changes there, maybe they might go to another club. But a decision has been made for them to be loaned out.
That's Sundowns kunendaba eziveleleko la ukuthi basho bane-deal banobudlelwano la nekhampani ka-Jay-Z e-Rock Nation. So ngiyazibuza Rock Nation, Sundowns, manje i-deal yohlanga njani yokuberekwa njani i-Rock Nation le ibereka ngani kwenzakalani sikhoya ilandelela indaba efana nale.
Yes, of course. Rock Nation is Jay-Z's company. So Sundowns is the best team in South Africa. It's the best club in South Africa. But they're not the biggest club in South Africa. Right? So, and the difference...
Best club.
Yeah, the best club is not the biggest club. Yes. So,
the biggest is Chiefs.
Yes. And the biggest difference is the following. They don't have as big a following as Chiefs has. So I think what they're trying to do with the Mutante Sun, they're trying to make Sundowns the bigger club in first in South Africa and then secondly in Africa. So they try to attack Africa first before South Africa, because they understand the sort of the tradition and also the internals regarding the fans, the Soweto clubs, how they've been followed, because Chiefs has already dominated the market, and if Umundu favor Chiefs, he tries to put his whole family, his wife, his kids, and everyone. So that following sort of drags, So it will take a huge investment for Sundowns to take away the kids away from the parents and get the kids favoring Sundowns and parents favoring Chiefs. You understand? So when they do their measurement and their calculations, it seems they see a bigger market in Africa than in South Africa. So that's how this deal came about between themselves and Rock Nation, because Rock Nation is an internationally known product. What they will be doing, they'll be using social media to try and make Sundowns the bigger club. They're going to run social media competitions. They're going to have a global website for Sundowns and Rock Nation. They're going to integrate Sundowns' work with the work of Jay-Z and Beyonce in terms of festivals and that. But the bigger one is the media. It's going to be the media presence. They're going to increase that. So you'll find yourself, if you were checking Sundowns space or media or website once in half a season, now you'll find yourself checking it probably once in a month, and more increasing that through their social media activations. So that's how they're trying to increase the following. And obviously the assumption is that they continue to do well on the field, that they can increase the following and more football lovers, So you probably find yourself winning a jersey that has been signed by Jay-Z, and then you get it through following the website and maybe answering smart questions and that. So that's how they try to make Sundowns a bigger club in Africa. That's the goal.
For kwenzekani kuma-Olympic any South Africans abakuma-finals so long gcine siku-42 ngabamedlali nyana yinye ku-gold ngathi mabili ne-bronze ngathi asinayo sine-gold ngathi ne-silver. Kwenzekani eSouth Africa bakhona esibalindileko kuma-finali abakhona kwenzakalani?
For this one, right now, it is safe to say we are done with Olympics. We are done. We have to accept it. It's painful. It's been a thorn for South Africans. Too many disappointments. I think the bigger disappointment is because the last Olympics in Brazil, we had better medals than now, because we had 5 medals. So now we're expecting to grow from those 5 medals and get at least 10 medals. That was the goal. South African, that was a goal from SASCO, But I think a lot of things happen. As we stand, Olympics are over for South Africa, because our really, really last realistic hope was a 4x100 meters. Yaizolo. 4x100 men relay. But give week saying before, to watch that relay. And I couldn't sleep again. Normally when I wake up like that, I would then come about 7, so then I'll go back to sleep. But I couldn't sleep again because of what happened in the race. I mean, we didn't even get the button to the third runner. We couldn't even make one change because we fumbled, because Munyai and Sean Maswangai, they couldn't have a better communication to swap the pipe, But I was very disappointed when I was very disappointed with Sean, because Sean was always part of that men relay. Remember, South Africa are the world champions now when it comes to men relay. We won the Athletics World Cup. So we are the champions. We were expected to win the gold now. If not the gold, perhaps be on podium. So at least we expected to get something out of that. So we expected something out of that. So with Sean remember, Sean was part of the team that won that world championship. So for him to react like that in Tokyo's Olympic, where there's no fans to put pressure, in an Olympic session where South Africa has only had 3 medals, only in the pool, where we've got nothing in the track and field, I think a lot of South Africans are going to find it very difficult to forgive him. You know? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's difficult to forgive him because those are the basics. Those are the basics, you know. Changing a button, like, for example, if you're a 100-meter sprint runner and you do a 100-meter relay, the basics are simple. The basics are simple. When you change the button, low Ognigelao runs inside the track. You run outside the track. You receive the button with your left hand. He hands it over to you with the right hand. You understand? That's how it's done. It's a simple basic that a coach at the Olympic Games can decide on the day who ufagabani on the team. You understand? Now, for now, the coach could have replaced Monyai and had Wade van Niekerk there. You understand? If they know the basics, you don't even need too many training sessions to get it right. You understand? It just speaks to competence. Whether are you good enough or you're not good enough. You understand? You're just not good enough. You understand? That's all it means. If you have enough training and you know what you're doing, you wouldn't face those kind of issues. But it happens to any country in the world. Let's not be too hard on them. But for them, I think it happened at the time when South Africa were crying for medals, and you wouldn't have expected that. I mean, poor Akani Simbini was really looking to be on podium with 100 meters. Him missing that, this was a good chance for him to be on podium. You understand? Because when we won the world championship, Simbini actually overtook the Brazilian runner who was ahead of him over a meter. So he was able to cover that meter and even overtake him within the last shot, you know, within the last 2 kicks. So it was him who made that championship, you know. So yeah, but I think we have to accept it. I mean, yeah, right now I think we are down and out. Anasa Chobotwana, he also missed out on the 200-meter finals. Together with Sean Maswangai, they didn't make to the finals. Also with Clarence Munyai. But Clarence Munyai, I wasn't expecting anything from him because for the past 3 Olympics I've been watching him, past 2 Olympics I've been watching him. He's just a number, you know. He doesn't seem like he's got the space. No, like there's athletes that you see that if given enough training, they can be world beaters. Like Akani Simbini, you know, you can see that he's got the pace. It's all about mental strength. It's all about training and preparation. But with Clarence Munyai, I think for me, Clarence should try and run a 400 meters because I think he does have the durability. He does have the strength, but he doesn't have that kick, that pace, you know, that top end speed. He doesn't have it, you know. Even low speed, I think for me is questionable because he's never really broken out of the group within the first 100 meters or even within the first 50 meters. He's never had that break, you know, to say, oh, here's Clarence coming through, then maybe fading away on the other segments. Like he doesn't have that. Like there's no way you say this is his strength, you know, when it comes to 200 meters. Versus V, Wade van Niekerk. Wade, actually, in my opinion, he made a mistake. Actually, on form, Wade van Niekerk, he only ran 3 times after Brazil Olympics because of the injury. You know, I saw Wade in the national qualifiers. I saw Wade chowing Akani Simbini, taking him for the cleaners for 200 meters. You know, so I actually thought after seeing that and thinking that he's coming from an injury, I thought he's going to get into the 200 meters as well. And he didn't go for it. So in these 200 meters, in the first heat, he was the fastest 100 meters, fastest 200 meters in all 5 heats to get to the semi-final. Ne? In the semi-final, he made the fastest 100 meters. He made the fastest 150 meters. Actually, he did the fastest 200 meters in the semi-final. And then he faded away in the last 50 meters. Yes. So you can see he's got the speed, but he doesn't have that top end endurance, you know, that top end durability. So I think he would have stood a better chance to be on podium if he went for the 200 meters as well. Actually, I thought during the injury, gift Liopello, I thought that that injury would actually force Wade van Niekerk to get into that 4x100 meter sprint. I thought so. But Clarence Munyai was the one, and Van Wyk, they were the ones, obviously, that were opted for that. But yeah, great disappointment. But when you look at it overall, Chadley Claw in the water, very, very disappointing. Yeah, very, very disappointing. Yeah, like number 5, number 6. And we have to congratulate Tatiana Skudmarker. I mean, I think she's done very well. Within the 3 medals that South Africa has, 80% are hers. You know, she's got 2 of the silver, and she got the silver that was unexpected. You know, because she got it in the 100 meter free, freestyle, yes. She got it in the 100 meter freestyle, yes. And the freestyle is not, the freestyle is not her, it's not her race. You know, she's a breaststroke kind of a lady. So the 200 meter breaststroke, it was expected that she wins that one. She did win last season in Brazil. She did get the gold for it. Now the difference is that she's gone through to break the world record. You know, so I think that's where because she's the first lady to get into the 218. You know, she broke the 219. That was there before, and now she's in a 218, 66. So I think that was a very good record, and I think the fact that she was the first Olympian to break the world record in these Tokyo Olympics, I think it made her a celebrity. So I think she's done very well. I think the other disappointment that I've had for me was the fact that obviously we couldn't get Caster to qualify. That disappointed me a lot. The other one, the long jumper, I think I also was disappointed that he couldn't qualify based on the doping. He's back on the doping. So that was a disappointment for me. And then Enye, Nkabanguti, football, Nkabanguti Nakona, we could have been better prepared because it was an issue of preparation. Even if we couldn't have won the gold medal, but I think maybe we should have gotten to the semi-finals, you know, because we've been in the Olympics for quite a while, and we're not getting through out of the group stages. So I think sometimes it's not the what happened, but the how it happened. I think sometimes you're in a little like more disappointment. We still don't have an 800 meter athlete since Malherbe and Mulawuzi. Since Mulawuzi passed away, we don't have another competitor there. And our chances of getting anything, obviously, they are depleted Yeah, no, I think it was a bad one. I think it was a bad one. So
Yeah,
I don't know
another.
how Saskog is going to explain this one.
Okunye kodwa okudanisako njengehlala yenza okwenzakala ukuthi ku-top 10 when you coming to ama-Olympic medal count, i-Africa ayikho.
Yes.
Phezulu esiqongolweni phezulu
and I
esiqongolweni
think
kune-Republic of China, ku-number 2 sine-United States and Japan. Great Britain ku-number 4 ne-Australia. Okusizinaga ezidlalela lapho vele sesiyazi masiya ku-Olympic. Inarha siyazazi, number 1, number 2, number 3. When you coming to Africa, there's nothing. Last vela khona sivela bo-40 whereby kune-South Africa ne-Kenya. Sazi ukuthi Kenya siyazi kuma-long distance kula idla khona itobhadobha lapha nalapha, but kezinye inarha ayikuyabhala mfo. Yini into esiyenze kufanele senzeni sima-Africans ukuthi mhlawumbe sizithole sikhompyutha lapha nabo-China nabo-America?
Look, there's no doubt that, especially in the South African case, we have reduced the investment on sports, and this is no surprise. Like for me, it's no surprise that we have actually downgraded or underperformed versus the last Olympics in Brazil, simply because if you look at now, inkolo asadlali imidlalo, you know, and this happened from 2008 when the former President Jacob Zuma became the president, because at that time I think there was a school project to increase facilities at school. Inkolo bese kwakiwa ama facilities wa tennis, kwakama ground, wama netball. I mean, amatenda maningi. Yeah, amatenda bekapuma for those kind of infrastructure. Then in the Zuma tenure, all of that faded away. Even sports that doesn't need a lot of investment, like running. Ukijima mfuna investment eningi ukuthi sikwenze esikole. Yangithola ukijima kufuna isikhathi and a good coach. Phela abantwana bangakithi ekhaya begijima ngenyawo. But now we know what the parents can afford to take a mateki or gym. Parents can afford that. So I want to know talent, you know, they needed to be supported with the kitchen school. The biggest sport in the world that only needs a football, a round football, and a group of players to go participate. We don't do that. So I think for Africa, specifically for South Africa, we need to go back to school football. Once we increase school football, there is a 17-year-old that comes from Peter Maritzburg. Ne? He's a sprinter. I forgot his name. He's still in matric. He was in the Olympics for South Africa. He only came back because he tested positive for COVID, so he had to come back. You understand? So look at this boy is 17 years. He's still doing matric. So you ask yourself, when did he increase his speed so much that he can compete at the Olympics? At school, obviously, because he's in a private school. You know? So we need to bring back sports at school level, and we need to increase that investment. Ukuthi esikolweni ucoachara angabi teacher nje kuthiwa ya wena uyindoda wena bambize ibhola wena nguma bambaze netball. No, we need to have professional coaches. Even if we don't pay them that much, we've got too many legends in South Africa that do not work. You understand? We've got way too many legends that don't work. So we can bring those legends from different disciplines of sporting, bring them back to school sports, and even train more. You understand? Train more, because obviously there are a lot of schools in South Africa. Train more schools and more coaches to be professional. At least have the minimum qualifications in terms of the license level, and then bring them through to schools level and pay those people. That will reduce unemployment. It will reduce drug abuse. It will reduce teenage pregnancy. It will reduce so many things, and it will improve the country immensely. If there's anyone who can tell me with South Africa we don't have 100-meter sprinters, I would have a problem with those people. We've got a lot of talent. We've got a humongous talent. We just need investment from government, leadership, private sector coming up. We need those investments coming back. Otherwise, we can forget about getting 10 medals at the Olympics. I mean, there's so many disciplines in the Olympics. I mean, now we can have something to do, like discuss or short put, javelin, diving, climbing. We can do so much sport. Those who are good in swimming, they can even do the water polo, hockey. There's just so many disciplines, volleyball. There's no age restrictions when it comes to shooting, But in South Africa, maybe we have a lot of people who can shoot. So they can join that game and shoot.
For nasikhuluma nje kunomdlalo okhambako bronze medal football match yabobaba iMexico ikhamba phambili ngo-2-0 ibetha isichema seJapan.
Yeah, I think I was expecting Mexico to get to the finals, to beat Brazil in that game, but it was a tough game. I was really impressed with some of the players from Mexico. Antuna, 15, very impressed, right winger striker. Vega, the striker, very impressed. I think it's Romo, unbelievable players. So I was really, really impressed with those players. So I thought Mexico was going to beat Brazil. But unfortunately, Brazil won on penalties. So it was a very tough game. I think anyone could have won that game. Japan, being the host nation, also was expecting them to beat Spain. That was also a bit of a surprise for me because they're really strong. Since they beat South Africa, they went on to win each and every game that they played. So I was expecting them to get to the finals, given the home support. But I think it was Asensio that scored the winning goal 2 days ago. They won 1-0 and to get to the finals. Right now, it could have been anyone's game, but maybe Japanese have been hit hard by not being able to qualify for the finals, and that's why that score 2-0. So I think mentally they were not strong enough to play for the third place, given the fact that they've been playing well and they're playing at home. But congratulations to Mexico. That's a great team.
Yes, for bengicala ama-penalty weBrazil nabadlala neMexico sifunde something lapho nofana is normal ngoba they are not doing into ezifana straight like bapick sport and then bayinikeza power and then goal finish and class.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of people, they put a lot of weight to penalties, and we even have new terms of what penalty is a lottery. Penalty is not actually a lottery if you've got confidence. That's a confidence game. It's all about the mental strength. Penalty. Penalty for anytime against any goalkeeper. If you pick the spot and put the ball there, hard, fast, preferably hard and low. You understand? If you put the ball there, there is no way that any goalkeeper can get there. So we try to check the goalkeeper's prediction. That's where you get wrong. I think if mentally you stay in your you have doubts.
That's why maybe
Yes. Have you seen Sunderland where Orlando Pirates penalty? He stands on one side of the post and open the big hole in the other side. Have you seen that? That was one of the most horrific standpoints I've ever seen in the world. Anyone trying to defend a penalty, I'm telling you. Because if I put the ball in the far post, in the far corner, there is no way that you can get there. There is no way that you can get there. Given the fact that you still need to be on your line. One foot still needs to be on your line before you can even make a save. There is no way that you can get there. So, yeah, we can say that. But for me, I've always said with the penalty nyama defender. And defenders for me, and important players. Important players are not stars, are not skillful players. Players are straight. I'm a defender. They kick the ball straight. They don't try to be funny. You remember Neil Tovey used to do the same thing. Edward Motale used to do the same thing. Lucas Radebe used to do the same thing. So all those people are defenders. So I think Gavin Lane, so I've always maintained with the penalty, I'm a defender. It's not for these skillful players, tricky players, because these players are too creative mentally. So they don't divorce themselves from that creativity. And when it comes to a penalty, there you need to be solid, straightforward, and also if you kick the penalty inside, if you kick it in the inside post, you are always going to get a better chance of scoring it than kicking it on the outside foot. You understand? So there you stand a better chance of kicking it over or kicking it outside or kicking it straight to the goalkeeper. But if you hit it inside, that's where you stand a better chance of scoring any penalty. But you must pick the spot and go for it, and then you'll never miss a penalty. So, but anyway, I think we've learned something from them. But it was a great football tournament. I thought all those nations, I think they were very tough, and they gave us a beautiful entertainment, I thought.
Ngibona kunabadlali abaphezulu lapha esiqhemeni seBrazil. Richardson we-Everton. Ngiyatsho ukuthi niyayiva kophela straight. Kunomdlalo lapho kuma-final ngathi ngen-7 sorry. iBrazil iqalana neSpain, final Olympic.
I think Brazil is going to win. Yeah. Ngicabanga ukuthi iBrazil iyowina umdlalo lo. Yeah. Ngicabanga ukuthi iBrazil edluleni kwayo kubetheni eMexico umdlalo lo bobudisi kulo lo. And I'm happy with the leadership yaga Dani Alves. Such an old player, almost neglected, almost forgotten. But leadership is a very important thing. And Africa, there's something else that we've learned there as well. To say that when it comes to overage players, you don't take a player who's overage but lack experience. Africa. Mara ngoba minyaka yakhe nengi umuse kuma Olympics. Thatha umdlali odlale e-Europe. You understand? Someone that you remember when Benning McCarthy came back from England, I think those are the kind of players that can go and become overage players. In Dani Alves, it's come to bring the most experienced. Best ubas lapayana kuma Olympics. Njengabo Bongani Zungu so. And Bongani Zungu could have gone to the Olympics. Why did the coach not look at him? And he was available. You understand? He's not carrying any injury. So I think it's something as if I think personally, that's something I learned with Dani Alves. Richarlison, obviously a very good player, playing in Everton, one of their main strikers for Everton, will Calvert Lewin. But I think this is the reason why I say Itiliaga Pesitao to go to Al Ali. It's a difficult one for both fans, for South African fans and Brighton fans, because we need those guys playing at that level. If Pesitao plays well at that level, and also is it Lebogang? I think is it Lebogang, the one who plays for Leicester City. We have a player playing I think it's Lebogang. If he also improves, then we have 2-3 players playing at the biggest league in the world. Then come Olympics, you bring those players in. I think they'll give us a better chance with Singatumba. Maybe we can get to the quarterfinals or semi-finals at least, because we've never gotten through the quarterfinal stage.
Ngithokozile man igalo lakho namhlanje, angazi mhlambe kukhona esikuchiyako mhlambe ofuna ukuveza or mhlambe kufikako breaking news, anything.
Yeah, ngicabanga ukuthi sikuvalile okuningi, but remember there's something we spoke about before regarding TS Galaxy revealing their players. So that's happening this Sunday on the 8th of August. They're going along by Eskodweni to reveal their new players and the new jersey. I think fans obviously have been asked and pleaded to come support, but adhere to the COVID-19 regulations. Keep social distance. Keep sanitizers within your hands. I see abantu abaningi abasawa phatha ama sanitizer on hand. They rely on the other sanitizers that they get on shops and that. Let's go back to the traditional route so that we can try and fight this pandemic, so that we can get back to our normal life. Our economy is shrinking because we are prolonging in the pandemic. So yeah, so that's happening now on Sunday. So I think that's for Kwandebele, it's a chance again for TS Galaxy to reunite Nabalandi, because I think it's been way too long that they've done anything really with the local fans. So I think, unfortunately, I won't be there this weekend. I wish I could be there, but I think it's going to be a good thing for TS Galaxy. So fans, abantu bangaya bukuhlangabeza Galaxy, bayisupporta ngendlela efaneleko, and then bazokubukela ne-jersey TS Galaxy. I haven't seen the jersey. Have you?
Nah, sayibona Sunday angayiboni.
Yeah, no. I haven't seen the jersey.
Mana kunendaba ongakayithindi man. Nonokhodish lokho kwakhulunyiswa ku Al-Ahly. Ngazi izwile la ukuthi naye.
Yes, I have. But I think it wasn't concluded. I think Peter's been tricky. I think it's not true. I heard him on radio. Usirino is no longer on their books. I think that's not true. I think that's not true, because negotiations are still going on between. And Serino wants to go to Al-Ahly. Serino doesn't like the current coaching staff. Do you remember when Sundowns played Al-Ahly in Egypt? Nakpelum Dalo, Wambata Ichezi Al-Ahly. Nakuliso Budi Bafum sign. And then Umangoba Mnetiwati, that was unprofessional of the player to do that. It was a Kulmanai. But after the second leg, he did it again. So it showed who the player was to go. So that player was to go. And then Nukovic, Peter is looking for him. Ngobo, Ngosing Pile Ngobo, also Peter wants those players. I think if Peter can sign all these players based in South Africa, that will be very good for Ipolole South Africa. But just that one Yarapestao, if you can just if you just let the boy, play in Europe, I think most of us are happy with the status quo. I think that's the only controversy there.
Kunento eyenzakalako la mfuma nengikaraka ngakuthi iPhumelanga soyenza naso fana yena. KZN Premier Cup la ingcema ze-KZN eziku-NFT neziku-Premier DStv Premiership ihlangana khona badlalisa ngathi bazisekela njalo into ehle mani ngibona ukuthi ongathi la dlanye ama-respect Richards A idlala ne-Royal AM amaZulu ayikhande Golden Arrows bese kuba nama-final njalo into ehle kangaka mfowethu bathokozisa.
No, for into leyafuneka eMpumalanga. Remember eMpumalanga sesithoma ukuba nenqhema nje. Ngoba nje sine TS Galaxy, sine TS Sporting, if you like, we might also consider Hembo Classic, because it's professional. Because so we can have a tournament like that one. We can have a tournament like that, and actually gives them a very good pre-season, because abadlali laba abatsha bathethe kuba klikitla bakhona ubafaka to test immediately, so it gives them a very good pre-season. And I think that was born by the Culling Black Label, because Culling Black Label is a very discriminatory cup for me. I know, remember it used to be Iwisa Spectacular, and now in that Iwisa Spectacular, on top of Iwisa Spectacular, we used to have the Vodacom Challenge, which included some of the teams from Africa. Sometimes it will have maybe one club from Europe. I think that was a very good tournament, because it will include 3 South African clubs plus 1 European club, or an African club. So I think that was a very better sort of tournament. Like for example, now it could have been Sundowns and Amazulu and Pirates, because these are the top 3 teams in the league. But because we know, Vodacom is solely concentrated in looking after their babies, Chiefs and Pirates. So they want to focus their marketing strategy within those 2 clubs. But yeah, it's a good thing. So yeah. I think it's something in Mpumalanga. We need it.
Ngiyathokoza mfo isikhathi sakho mhlangana godi ngomvulo masicalako uThemba Fanele Masango uthi hey ayena indaba kataba kayithathi is a downgrade.
Yeah, I remember we spoke to a great length about that, and we're still going to hear a lot of. I think once the show is over, go just check the trends. I mean, you'll see how much or how many fans are dissatisfied with that kind of move. So I'm actually hoping there's that little thing like a Parad Guamiti. I wish that deal doesn't go through because I want to see Pesitao playing in the English league. That's So let's see what happens. Yeah, it's not a good move. It's more like a downgrade. So yeah, it's not financially it's good for him, but I don't think he's concerned about money. He wants to play at the highest level, and we all know how long it took him to Brighton because of the work permit and that. So now all of that is done. Now he's trying to get his form. Now Graham Potter is putting him in his plans. And even the fact that Upito Yamfuna and he's pushing Amfuna, even if the deal can break, in the mind of Graham Potter, is always something with this. Yeah, Boniam Kelly. So this is not good for This is not good, yeah.
Enye indaba bengijabulele wathola ukuthi ma-fake news kaSipho Mbolo to Chiefs. Hey, hayi abantu bazazicreate ituri. I thought vele uyeza even
Where did you get those news?
Fake news khona la ku-Twitter la bathi Sipho Mbolo to Chiefs. Hey, bayavela bathi ma-fake news.
Yeah, no. I think people need to be careful where they're getting their news and how they're getting them. And like I think when you hear news from social media and all these publications, even if you can hear it from the most reliable publications, you still owe it to yourself to go deeper. Go to the club's websites, go to the team's website, check if there's anything there. Go to the players' pages, check if there's anything there. And if you are inside the space, just try and make those calls, with the people internally. Try to check the validation. But I think people need to be careful who, how, and especially Chiefs fans, because they they like the club and they rush to jubilate. So I think finally, but just wait for that pronouncement. Do you remember last time when you asked me about I think that the lack of extension contract Willa Katsande? Because also that broke before, but we were not sure if indeed Chiefs will not renew that contract. But remember, I also said that when they release players, they're not going to release them one by one. They're going to issue a media release and list all the changes. You understand? You remember? And they did exactly that because they would obviously need to give them respect. So I think, yeah, Sipho Mbule, I had Mike McCup, but I'm saying it's not completely off. Sipho Mbule. So I think I heard what Mark McCup is saying, but the difference is that Chiefs is pursuing negotiation for two players with SuperSport, which is Tebogo Mokoena and Sipho Mbule. That is a fact. So let's wait and see what will happen. Yeah.
So bese iphutha sikakathokozise imandla ethu gospel singers bese sayivala.
Yo, Maramfo. Yo, I just want to congratulate you and your group for the work that you've done. And also, I want to give credit to the Summers and the work that has been done by our old friend, Leslie Mufukeng. I think I'm going to try and bring Leslie onto your show to talk about the kind of changes that they bring. Yeah, because what they did is they're now giving awards based on quality. They're no longer looking at the number of times that the media is playing your song, because they've realized that there's a lot of corruption going through in the media stream, and especially the traditional media, the radios and that. They put their favorites, and most South African musicians don't get a chance in the platform, and then automatically they sort of like bought those kind of awards. Here's Mandletu, I, for one, never heard of Mandletu. I don't know a single song from a Mandletu. I've never seen them anywhere, but here they are producing good quality enough to beat South Africa and get a summer award. And this is the first time in KwaNdebele, Sitola Isama. You know, this is a huge. I was actually expecting to see you guys all over the media, but maybe still going to happen. But from my side, congratulations, guys. This is what we want to see. We want to see the youth singing, getting out on the streets, and doing something positive. And all kudos to you guys, and congratulations. You've done very, very well. As done a money, when don't have a million rands, you know, become a new holiday. But congratulations, guys. Well done.
Usakhuluma ngemedia leya, so I'm so disappointed. By this time I thought maybe amakhosi ekhethu uNzunza noManala amakhosi esigodlweni. I thought imikhatsho yeMpumalanga iGwalagwala FM, Kokwezi FM, ma-local community radio station nje ama-promoters beMpumalanga promoter these things of music, art and culture. I thought it's bazoba like babiza imandla to up and down like bayithokozisa, but I'm so disappointed akwenzeki. No one is noticing imandla to this.
Yeah, but I think it's something that it's been noted, but perhaps now that it's Kulmangayo, perhaps someone is watching and maybe they can make a change, because it just needs a one call away to make an interview with Imandletu. People want to know what Mandletu is about, where they come from, who are the people involved. People want to know who is Mandletu. So I think, yeah, I'm with you there. I'm not sure what's the approach from the media. This is their job to do this. I'm not sure what's going on with the producers, but hopefully someone is watching and they can change this, you know, because media is there. It should live for the people and for the society. So I've heard a number of people being brought on media from other regions, being congratulated on media, and I'm hoping that our locals can be acknowledged as well. Like you said, Ligwalagwala, local radio stations, Ikwekwezi as well. Inagegelo at home, I think, I know there was a signal issue regarding, I think, AA2, and I think the other one, is a Kwacha, I forget the name. So I know that there's an issue on my network, my local radio stations are cut it off, but Mutse radio station is still running, KCRS is still running. I mean, yeah, I think that if guys are watching, they should do their honors and contact Mandletu and bring them. We, the public, we want to hear what's going on with these guys. Where do they come from? How do they make their music? How do they sustain themselves? We want to know about Mandletu. So I think we want to congratulate them and give the credit where it's due.
Paul Kulcha umalimela bomtshana ngathi umratha ngasantomnyana nawusukele mina usukele somnyanya nakungimi ngile.
Thank you for having me.
Bye bye.